Rahul sparks Jati meltdown.
90% of India, OBCs, Dalits, Adivasis, they don't play the game. They're not even in the game, right? And that's really the elephant in the room.
Rahul's will scrap reservation triggers fight.
We will think of scrapping reservations when India is a fair place. And India is not a fair place.
After outrage, Rahul clarifies.
Somebody misquoted me yesterday saying that I'm against reservations. I've been saying again and again and again, we're going to increase reservations beyond 50%, and I'm not against reservations.
BJP breathes fire, says quota can't be abolished.
The prejudice against reservation which Rahul Gandhi has in abundance got reflected in America.
Reservation showdown. That is our top focus on 6 p.m. Prime.
Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshata Nandagopal, and this evening we're going to be getting you all the details. The big showdown over reservations, something we saw in the run-up to the general election, now once again becoming the big political talking point after Rahul Gandhi's comments in the United States. There's a lot of back and forth that Rahul Gandhi said he will get rid of reservation, while the Congress says he said no such thing. We'll set the record straight here on India Today by getting you both sides. Let's begin with the headlines. Big meltdown over Rahul Gandhi's Sikh bias remark in the United States. BJP Sikh netas hit the streets in protest. Khalistani terrorist Pannoon also backs Rahul's statement. Rahul Gandhi meets India beta and Pakistan sympathizer Ilhan Omar during his US tour. BJP hurls anti-national taunt at Rahul Gandhi. Shimla protest against illegal mosque turns ugly. Protesters clash with cops in the hill town. Sukhu government says will demolish mosque if civic body deems it illegal. Bengal doctors versus Mamata government stalemate continues. Doctors' delegation calls for meeting. Doctors stand firm on Health Secretary resignation demand. Seek a meeting with Mamata Banerjee to be broadcast live. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump's heated face-off in their first presidential debate. Trump calls his opponent a failure. Kamala retorts with disgraceful taunt. Pop star Taylor Swift backs Harris. All the highlights of the debate coming up at 6:30 this evening. And Bollywood actor Malaika Arora's father dies by suicide in Mumbai. Father Anil Arora jumped off 6th floor terrace of the family home. Friends of Malaika from the industry join her in this time of grief. So Rahul Gandhi on the issue of reservation has triggered a big political showdown, with the BJP hitting out at Rahul, accusing him of attempting to get rid of reservation. So much so that Home Minister Amit Shah has also spoken out on it today, saying that we will never allow Rahul Gandhi or the Congress to get rid of reservation in this country. Rahul Gandhi said essentially this. He said that if India was a fair country, or when India becomes a fair country, I will get rid of reservation. Now, soon after that comment triggered a storm, he was forced to clarify as well. Let's get you all the details in our next report.
Rahul Gandhi's US visit continues to be in the eye of the storm. And it's his comments on reservation that triggered a massive political meltdown in India.
We will think of scrapping reservations when India is a fair place. And India is not a fair place. Now, that creates a problem, because there are many people who come from the upper caste, right, who say, look, what have we done wrong?
Day after this declaration in Virginia, the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha issued a clarification at another interaction in Washington, D.C.
I don't see it as a Mandal versus Kamandal issue. And what we're saying is different than the the idea of only reservations. What we're saying is we want a comprehensive understanding first of what's going on, and then we're going to apply a series of policies to correct it, reservation being one of them. Somebody misquoted me yesterday saying that I'm against reservations. I've been saying again and again and again, we're going to increase reservations beyond 50%, and I'm not against reservations.
But political fireworks are already exploding. Home Minister Amit Shah came out all guns blazing at the Congress MP, saying that by speaking about abolishing reservations in the country, Rahul Gandhi has once again brought the Congress's anti-reservation face to the forefront. Shah also declared that as long as BJP is there, no one can abolish reservation in India.
राहुल गांधी जी की गैर जिम्मेदाराना बयानबाजी देश और विदेश में स्पष्ट तौर पर दिखाती है कि आज भी वो जिम्मेदारी मिलने के बावजूद भी गैर जिम्मेदाराना बयान ही देंगे।
राहुल गांधी जब भी विदेश जाएंगे तो भारत का अपमान करेंगे। क्या कह दिया आप देखिए, आरक्षण समाप्त कर देंगे, कभी नहीं होगा। राहुल गांधी जान ले आप।
राहुल गांधी यहाँ तो संविधान बचाने की बात करते हैं और वहाँ जाकर आरक्षण समाप्त करने की बात करते हैं। कभी भी कांग्रेस ने भारत रत्न डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आम्बेडकर जी का और संविधान का सम्मान नहीं किया। ये जो वक्तव्य सामने आया है, इससे इनका असली चेहरा सामने आया।
Caste consensus and reservation have been one of the main political issues of the Congress and its allies since the run-up to the 2024 elections. India partners have come out in Rahul Gandhi's support.
बीजेपी जो है अफवाह पार्टी है। बीजेपी का मतलब ही है बड़का झूठा पार्टी है। ये केवल जनता को झूठ बोल करके भ्रमित करके अपनी राजनीति को सेकने का काम करते हैं। राहुल गांधी कई बार कह चुके हैं कि वो जातीय जनगणना कराएंगे, आरक्षण को ख़त्म नहीं होने देंगे, और जो लोग आरोप लगा रहे हैं वो तो संविधान विरोधी लोग हैं।
At home and abroad, caste and quota continue to be a raging debate. Bureau Report, India Today.
Considering how reservation and the issue of quota actually dominated the general election, it's not surprising that Rahul Gandhi's comments in America has triggered such a big political storm. And this time, the BJP is essentially attempting to turn the tables. Because if you remember, in the run-up to the elections, you had Rahul Gandhi referring to one or two comments by BJP RSS leadership, and these were comments largely that were tweaked and twisted to suggest that they're going to remove reservation. And then that was used by the Congress to say that the BJP, if they get Charso Par, will go ahead and change the constitution to remove reservation. And this became a huge rallying call for the India bloc at every single rally. It proved also to be a successful political tactic, which is why today, right now, the BJP is attempting to use this to their advantage of using Rahul Gandhi's comment. I want to show you exactly what Rahul Gandhi said on day one, as well as his clarification, to essentially set the record straight on whether Rahul Gandhi is suggesting that he is going to be removing reservation now.
We will think of scrapping reservations when India is a fair place. And India is not a fair place. Now, that creates a problem, because there are many people who come from the upper castes, right, who say, look, what have we done wrong, right? Why are we being punished? And so then you think about increasing dramatically the supply of some of these things. What we're saying is we want a comprehensive understanding first of what's going on, and then we're going to apply a series of policies to correct it, reservation being one of them. Or somebody misquoted me yesterday saying that I'm against reservations. I've been saying again and again and again, we're going to increase reservations beyond 50%, and I'm not against reservations.
So knowing full well how this could backfire, you had Rahul Gandhi there clarifying very clearly and saying, I was misquoted. I am for reservation, including increasing the reservation in the country. The other big talking point over Rahul Gandhi's America visit has been, in fact, the meeting that he held with the American senators and MPs, including Ilhan Omar, who's made headlines repeatedly here in India for her anti-India stance, her pro-Pakistan, pro-POK stand, as well as far as Pakistan's narrative is concerned. And during his 3-day visit to America, he's chosen to also be with Ilhan Omar, meeting her along with a big delegation. The BJP is lashed out at Rahul Gandhi, saying that this is what Rahul stands for, that he goes ahead and backs anti-national elements, referring to the meeting with Ilhan Omar and also referring to his comment on Sikhs, which has now been backed by Khalistani terrorists.
Congress leader and leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi's trip to the US has sparked a firestorm back home for the 3rd day in a row. Rahul Gandhi met US lawmakers, including Ilhan Omar, during his visit to Washington, D.C. Ilhan Omar, a Somali American known for her anti-India stance and remarks, is the US representative for Minnesota's 5th district. She's known for her frequent anti-India tirades and support of anti-India moves within the US political system. Ilhan Omar had slammed India for the abolition of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir and had visited Pakistan-occupied Kashmir as well. She also boycotted Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech to the US Congress. Ilhan Omar had backed the Canadian probe into allegations of the Indian government's alleged role in the killing of Khalistani separatist terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The BJP's big guns, including Home Minister Amit Shah, have rained fire on Rahul Gandhi for meeting Ilhan Omar, describing the leader of the opposition as anti-India.
It almost seems as if he goes abroad to criticize all Indians and his motherland. I condemn the kind of statements and the people whom he is meeting during his foreign trips. On the one hand, he meets Miss Omar, who is a known anti-India propagandist.
The Congress has hit back at the BJP, calling its statement motivated.
अब इल्हान ओमर सबको रट गया। इल्हान ओमर एक समूह में, अलग-अलग राजनेताओं के एक समूह में राहुल गांधी से मिली। अगर इन्हें इतनी ही आपत्ति है तो भाजपा तो यहाँ की सत्तारूढ़ दल है। आज समन करें अमेरिका के राजदूत को, आज चिट्ठी लिखें स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट को और अपनी आपत्ति दर्ज कराएं।
Earlier, Rahul Gandhi had sparked controversy with his claim on the Sikh community's struggles in India.
The fight is about whether he, as a Sikh, is going to be allowed to wear his turban in India. Or he, as a Sikh, is going to be allowed to wear a kada in India. Or he, as a Sikh, is going to be able to go to Gurdwara. That's what the fight is about.
Now, Khalistani terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu has supported Rahul's statements, calling them bold and factually grounded. Even Sikhs for Justice, a banned organization, has issued a statement hailing Rahul Gandhi's words. The BJP has warned that Rahul is setting a dangerous narrative.
वो जिम्मेदारी मिलने के बावजूद भी गैर जिम्मेदाराना बयान ही देंगे। वो सुर्खियों में बने रहने के लिए अफवाहें फैलाने का, झूठ बोलने का काम करते ही रहेंगे। और राहुल गांधी जी, मेरे साथ कितने सिख भाई बहन खड़े हैं। किसी को पगड़ी पहनने पे कोई रोक नहीं, किसी को गुरुद्वारे जाने पे कोई रोक नहीं।
Rahul's visit to the US has triggered controversy for multiple reasons, including slamming the Modi government, meeting Pak sympathizer Ilhan Omar, and now an endorsement by Khalistani terrorist Pannu. With Rahul Gautam in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And let's get you details about why this meeting with Ilhan Omar has been panned across India. She's known to, in fact, take an anti-India stand on every single issue and be sympathetic to Pakistan. In 2022, Ilhan Omar met with the Pakistani leadership, and this is in her capacity as a lawmaker in America. She's spoken publicly, vocally, several times in favor of Pakistan. The same year, she also visited POK and then spoke and advocated for the rights of POK as being part of Pakistan. And this despite the fact of knowing what all has played out in POK and the history of how it is a part of India. Ilhan said Kashmir is not getting attention. And if you look at her social media timeline, she's constantly trying to preach on Kashmir. Ilhan also referred to Article 370 abrogation as a deep concerned. She was one of those American lawmakers who tried to also create massive international ruckus and chorus over Article 370, which is why she's known to constantly speak against India, speak on Kashmir, try to create some sort of movement in America against India. And that's why the lens and question will be on why Rahul Gandhi chose to meet her.
पहली बार मैं ऐसे ऑफिस में आई हूँ फॉर्म भरने के लिए पॉलिटिक्स के उसमें, तो मेरे लिए नई चीज़ थी, एक्साइटेड हो रही हूँ। अभी मुझे पता लग रहा है कि हाँ लड़ाई स्टार्ट हो गई है, तो उस मोड में मैं चली गई हूँ बिल्कुल। और मैं चाहती हूँ कि जी जान से मेहनत करूँ, लोगों का जो विश्वास है, जो प्यार है, उनकी भावनाओं की कदर करते हुए मैं हर एक वो काम करूँ जो वो चाहते हैं, मेरे से उम्मीद करते हैं। हम यहाँ से सीट जीत कर अगर हम जाएंगे तो सबकी मेहनत सफल होगी। हम पार्टी के लिए एक मजबूती को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमारा योगदान रहेगा, जीन जिले का जुलाना जिले का योगदान रहेगा। बहुत जिम्मेदारियां हैं, दीपेंद्र भाई साहब ने बहुत जिम्मेदारी के साथ मुझे यहाँ भेजा है, बहुत उम्मीदों के साथ में भेजा है। भूपेंद्र हुड्डा सर ने बहुत एक आश्वासन मेरे को दिया है और एक विश्वास भी दिखाया है कि हमें आप पे भरोसा है, आप अच्छा करोगे। और मेरे को इस फील्ड में भेजा है तो कुछ सोच के ही भेजा होगा। और मैं चाहती हूँ कि सबकी उम्मीदों पर मैं खरा उतरूँ बस।
My apologies there for the big breaking news that just came in of Vinesh Phogat filing her nomination. And we spoke to her exclusively on India Today, where she speaks about her political journey. There's a controversy that's playing out also over what Vinesh Phogat has been saying and speaking about really what played out in the Olympics. Let's get you some of the comments that Vinesh Phogat has said now that she's spoken out about what happened in Paris. First, in fact, Vinesh Phogat says that it was a friend who told me about the system of going to the court of arbitration, not Indian authorities. So I went knowing my own right and decided to appeal. The Indian authorities didn't help me. Besides that, Vinesh Phogat also said that I would have won gold if the case was fought better. This is another comment that she said, essentially highlighting, saying that the government didn't do enough. The centre and sports bodies treated it as Vinesh's medal and not India's medal. So this is a grave allegation that she's making, saying nobody fought, saying that this is glory for India. They thought of it as glory for Vinesh alone. I didn't get support in Paris from Indian authorities. So directly, she's pinning the blame on the government, saying nothing was done to help her. And she's even referred to the picture that was clicked by PT Usha when she met her the next day in hospital, saying the picture was clicked with me for posturing. I wasn't even told, my consent wasn't taken for the photo to be taken or for it to be put on social media. So all of these claims have been made by Vinesh Phogat. Our sports editor Nikhil Nas, remember, was reporting from Paris during the Olympics, and he was covering this entire incident live when, of course, the disqualification had taken place, when it was moved to court, and the arguments that had taken place in court as well. So he tells you exactly what was the truth of how the disqualification played out and whether Vinesh is right when she says the government didn't help her at all.
What are those claims that she's making right now, and how much there is falsehood in that and how much of truth there is in that? We'll try and look at closely. What's the first claim that she's making? She said in one of her interviews now that a friend told her about her recourse, a legal recourse of approaching the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, and it wasn't the Indian authorities. To that count, I must say that what she's claiming is right. So if you remember, that entire scenario happened, and it was Vinesh Phogat herself that approached CAS as an athlete. And if you remember, there were 4 lawyers that were appointed by the Paris Olympic authorities that were there for all athletes. They were actually fighting the case for her. So if there is any sort of confusion, as in Indian government or Indian Olympic Association or Sports Authority of India, they actually said no, we must fight for Vinesh Phogat, that there was no truth to it. That is exactly what we've been reporting. And if she claims that a friend told her about it and she on her own accord approached the authorities, that is correct. Nothing wrong in that. However, there is a catch in that. I must tell you, that does not mean that the Indian authorities weren't with her all throughout. They had to back her as well. You needed the Indian Olympic Association also to back her. And the initial appeal that she sent, even though she decided to take the legal recourse, it was also signed by the Indian Olympic Association. So they were backing her in all of this. So this claim made by Vinesh now in her interviews is partly correct. Okay, what's the next claim that she's making? She's saying if the case was fought better, she would have been awarded that medal. That's the other claim that she has, and I think nothing could be further away from the truth. I think everything that you did it, and if you read that verdict very closely, which I have, the 15-page verdict that came, it is pretty clear that, you know, no matter how you fought the case, no matter what you did, no matter who you had as you know, legal people fighting, the result would have been pretty much the same, because there is no past precedent. There's never been a case where CAS has overturned a verdict if the rules have been followed. Yes, if there were loopholes in the rules, or if something that the rule book had not addressed, or if the rules were not followed, if there was something like that, then she would have got some sort of relief. But there have been no cases in the past where the rules have been followed and the decision has been overturned. So for Vinesh to now say that if the case was fought better, medal would have been awarded, is a complete hogwash. The four lawyers that were fighting on her behalf obviously gave it their best. You had, you know, the smartest minds that work in a legal entity called Krida Legal, that work in sport, led by Vidushpat Singhania, one of the finest brains in, you know, when it comes to cases related to sports. All of them work towards this. Harish Salve, he needs no introduction, a legal eagle that you have. All of them fought this case. So there was no other way that you could have fought this case better, as she claimed. I think everything was done in terms of fighting that case, just that, you know, there were rules, she was on the wrong side of the rules, and the verdict came as was being expected. In fact, the fact that they took more than that 24-hour deadline, which they seldom do, CAS, and pushed it to 3-4 days, just tells you that the legal fight was good. It at least forced the court to look at it very closely, scrutinize it even more closely. Eventually, there was no way out for Vinesh. So this claim of her is completely wrong in the interviews that she's giving right now. Third and the final claim that she's making in her interviews now, after having joined a political party, she says government and sporting bodies made it an ego issue and treated it as Vinesh's medal and not India's medal. So somewhere she's saying that, oh, you know, because it was Vinesh, if it was some other athlete, they would have, you know, been supporting her or fighting for her and ensuring that she wins a medal. It's because I was Vinesh, because I took on the government, they treated me differently. Again, nothing could be further away from the truth. I was there in Paris, followed this case very closely. I saw all that went into behind the scenes. I must tell you also, and kudos to, it's not a lot of times that we you know, praise administrators. More often than not, we journalists are always nitpicking and sometimes scrutinizing their, you know, their acts or their decisions. But in this case, I must tell you that all the backing that she needed, she was given. Even though she had her 4 lawyers that she had picked herself, I know this for a fact that the Indian Olympic Association, Sports Authority of India, as well as a few, you know, prominent people from the government were all putting their heads together, and that's how you had Vidushpat Singhania from Krida Legal and Harish Salve also come into the case to make Vinesh's case stronger. I don't think there was anybody in this country, whether they were from the ruling party, whether they were from the sporting bodies, that were against Vinesh Phogat. In fact, everyone was very empathetic towards her. Everyone was ensuring that she's, you know, looked after. I tell you, as a media man, there were a lot of people that I spoke to who could have given us access to Vinesh to speak to her, but they were all safeguarding her, saying, no, leave her alone, she needs to be looked after. I gave an example of Chef de Mission spending close to 2 days with her and treating her as a top level athlete and an Indian athlete. So I think everyone that was present there, even though I must tell you, Vinesh took a few decisions unilaterally. She did not involve Indian Olympic Association. She did not involve the Sports Authority of India. But everyone that I could think of tried to back her, tried to help her out. Unfortunately, the case was such that there was no way that she was going to win it. So these are her latest claims. We just showed you, and we tried to, again, as we did earlier as well, tried to separate fact from fiction, and we've attempted at doing that for the second time.
So you heard from Nikhil their first-hand account of what exactly transpired in Paris and why some of the claims by Vinesh simply don't add up, including the question of how some of the senior-most lawyers were deployed there if it was just Vinesh fighting individually for that medal, fighting that particular case. And the question then will be asked about whether this was a politically coloured comment made by Vinesh in light that she's now joined the Congress. Is she therefore forced to take on the government, even on an issue, unfortunately, like her disqualification at the Olympics? It's time for me to slip into a very short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side, our special 30-minute broadcast where we'll get you all of the highlights of the first clash, the first direct showdown between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. If you missed that debate early this morning, we've got you covered.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
India Today Conclave 2024, September 25th and 26th, Mumbai. Book your seat now. Visit indiatodayconclave.com.
But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her.
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times.